Recently, you just saw that I believe it was a known terrorist organization that was calling death to America and actually calling for assassinations on President Trump, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and Elon Musk. But not just that, under the last administration, there was actually 10 known members of the terrorist watch list that were released into U.S. territory. And I say that being that, A, that's direct evidence, but also, two, we know that you brought up 9/11. They are definitely in their ideologies, not playing games. They're not here to be friends. And there is a long-term end goal here, and that's terrorism and death to anyone that stands in their way. So I'm extremely concerned about it. In fact, so much so that the administration has pushed for Congress to receive a briefing on what's happening right now with Iran, given talks, actually on Tuesday at 3 p.m. So hopefully I'll come back then and have more to say after the fact.
Look, good, and it's good that there's a briefing. My position, I think you guys should be calling the shots about what happens here, and the president should be coming to you for instruction. That's what the Constitution and the adjacent laws demand. What do you think about what happened to your colleague, Max Miller? The Jewish member of Congress, with somebody trying to run him off the road. It's not getting a lot of attention. I got to be honest.
No, it's not. I actually reached out to Max directly about that right after I saw it happened. And unfortunately, right now, especially with heightened rhetoric, you saw what happened with the No Kings protests. I mean, this is only going to continue, so much so where members are actually next week also going to be doing a closed-door bipartisan session on security measures, because many of us have been, you know this, Chris, unfortunately victims of these death threats. But there's a lot of nut jobs out there. And again, when you have public-facing forward members, you're talking about the balance of power in one of the most powerful countries in the world, and then you have known terrorists in our country that are still on the loose. This is not fear-mongering. This is a very real threat. I'm glad that we have good agents at the FBI who are taking this seriously now, but it should have never gotten to this point.
Gags, that guy today with Max Miller, maybe Luna's right. That's a nut job, young kid, doing a stupid thing that could have been attempted murder if it went really wrong. But a lot of these guys are not stupid kids, and they're not just fanatics. They're tactical, and they're waiting, and they're getting a lot of help these days from fanaticism and extremism in our culture. So what does that do, and what do you make of this signaling of the administration?
Well, Chris, first of all, I think there's a couple things to look at. One is, the direction or the inspiration by a hostile nation state. And look, Russia, China, North Korea, and yes, Iran, going back to the Cold War, specifically 1979, when obviously the Ayatollah Khomeini came in. But Chris, it's also important to understand January 3rd, 2020, which was just a little over 5 years ago, when President Trump called the strike that took out General Qasem Soleimani. Look, we know that Iran has basically been on a warpath for us. You pointed it out earlier in the prior segment. Can they reach out and touch us? It's difficult. But the sleeper cells are a real problem. Why is that? 2,000-mile border between us and Mexico and a 5,000-mile border between us and Canada. It's people leaking across that, people from Iran, China, again, North Korea, Russia, that might stay dormant until they're either inspired or, in this case with the supreme leader in Iran, directed to cause some type of mayhem or harm.
And now how about this new overlay, Gags, of radicalization over the internet, where you get either the sleeper cell guys to contact angry young people in their communities, or you just do it straight over the internet? What does that do in terms of enhancing the threat?
So three things. So you're talking about OSINT, O-S-I-N-T, which is open source intelligence. Obviously, the FBI and all the intelligence community members are looking at the internet, but the internet is so vast, the dark nether regions, and we can't get to everywhere and everyone, and we have that pesky Fourth Amendment thing here. So when it comes to American citizens, now, looking at the Patriot Act, it does allow us to collect metadata or communications in the SIGINT realm, and that's the signal intelligence. We intercept communications anybody that's been deemed part of an FTO or a foreign terror organization, and Iran, by their proxy organization, Hezbollah out of Syria, they have been sponsoring terrorism since the dawn of time. So, yeah, we'll be picking it up that way, too.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.